Group Tcb is Spain's leading maritime operator of port terminals with a portfolio of 13 terminals around the world. TFI News met with Group CEO Xavier Soucheron in Barcelona to discuss the port's business. I started by asking him to explain the company's ownership structure.
It's a mix of industrial investors and financial investors. So from the industrial side, there is a Perez Group, which is a group with a large tradition in maritime business in Spain and South America. And from the financial side, we have three main groups, which is Bellamy Group, QIC. Bellamy Group is a Swiss group, QIC is an Australian fund, and Finpro, which is a Portuguese one.
And can you just explain the current ports in your portfolio around the world?
Yeah, well, the origins of the group is in Barcelona, where we are now, which are running the container terminal. Then it was expanding through other Spanish terminals in Valencia, in the Canary Island, and Gijón in the north. The following expansion was in Latin America, and currently we're running terminals in Brazil, in Mexico, and in Cuba, and we're going to open in a few months another one in Colombia. The next step has been moving to the other side, to the east, and we opened a terminal in Turkey last year. And we are now working actively in several projects in the Far East. And the most recent success has been announced in the last few days that we won a new concession for a new port in Ennore in the India.
And how have you seen volumes of traffic and trade going through the ports during the recession? And are you seeing now a sustained recovery in volumes of traffic and trade?
Yeah, well, but mainly 2008, 2009 volumes and generally drop in some places dramatically, in some places not so badly. And now we've seen in this year, mainly after the second quarter of this year, a general recovery that is not the same everywhere. But we've seen that we believe that this is a substantial recovery. In some ports, we have already, in some areas, we have already recovered almost all the traffic that we have been lost in the previous couple of years.
And how do you view now the health of the shipping lines? So during the recession, the spot rates, the shipping rates hit the floor. Are they now recovering as well, in line with trade volumes increasing? Well,
last year was a very difficult year for the shipping lines. All of them, they posted huge losses in their accounts. Now the numbers that we are seeing that they are publishing are again black numbers. They are recovering the losses. They are making some good profits in the first half of this year, and they are again continue with the ordering with new vessels. So it seems that they suffer a lot in the last year and a half, but it seems that they are now on the track of a quick recovery.
One area I see you trying to develop is the intermodal transportation sector with Renfe. Can you give me some details about that and how that's progressing?
Yeah, we believe that the intermodal and mainly the train transportation, it is a mean that needs to be exploited more in the future. It's more friendly with the environment, and also mainly in Europe but in other continents, it will help to reduce the congestion on the tracks. So we are working very closely with the rail operators to develop these solutions, to be sure that we can smooth the door-to-door solutions and not to involve a lot of mess, a lot of different steps in the logistic chain, trying to do it as smoothly as possible in order to speed up the process, to reduce inventory stocks in all the supply chain, in order to do it faster, more effective, and more environmental friendly.
Do you see the intermodal part of the business being a key area for growth in TCB?
It is. I would say that probably it is more now in the developed countries than in the developing countries. But in anywhere where ports will be located in the congested areas, the trains should provide some good solutions. And it's an area where we are definitely investing, and it's an area where we would like to do more in the near future.
Obviously your portfolio is very widespread and very international. What's the criteria for looking at countries around the world? Where do you focus in on?
Well, we are focusing in countries that could provide good opportunities for growth. There are still quite a lot of countries that are in a very important needs of infrastructure, from new ports, new container terminals, and these are mainly the countries that we are focusing. If there is a good opportunity in some developed country, of course, we are looking at it, but we believe that in the next coming years, the more opportunities to develop new container terminals will be in developing countries. We are more interested in greenfield projects, in starting from scratch and build, operate and develop terminals more than buying consolidated assets. We are more a developer than a real trader of current operations.
And in terms of financing those greenfield developments, how do you fund them internally, or is it through project finance? What's the mix of?
Well, there is a wide range of ways to finance. Of course, some of the finance should come internally, so we are, as I said, our financial investors that are providing us some funds to do it, and we can team up with, on a case by case, with specific funds in institutions, and of course external credit with commercial banks or institutional banks like the IFC or the EIB or banks like that are very interested in continue financing big infrastructures in developing countries.
In terms of some of those countries you operate in, you've got Cuba, Venezuela. There's a high degree of political risk. How do you overcome that or work with that in your business?
Well, always there are risks, and you invest in new geographies. And what you have to do is to do the homework. You have to really understand what are the needs of the country, what are the real risks. You have to be surrounded with people that understand the countries. We always are going to these countries with local partners that are knowledgeable, that they understand how you need to perform business in that countries. Of course, you cannot reduce risk at zero, but until now it has been worked quite well for us.
In terms of port valuations, obviously pre-credit crisis, there was the infrastructure equity funds coming to the market, looking at acquiring ports and did do so, pushing up prices. Do you see now, within working within the market, that port valuations now have come down to a more realistic level?
Yes, absolutely. I think that before the crisis, some of the valuations were really out of the market, but at that moment in time it was a lot of competition about it, and this pushed the prices up very much. Now prices are they dropped dramatically during the crisis. Now probably they have increased slightly again, and I think that are in a much logical range, and I think that some operations could be made during the next months or years at a much more reasonable multiples.
Just looking at life when post-Panamax, when the widening is in operation of the Panama Canal, how are you preparing your ports now for the new era in shipping?
Well, it is undoubtedly that if things continue to go as they were before the crisis, and it is a big if, that there is no clear, there are a lot of opinions about it, it seems that sooner or later the big vessels will come again, and we definitely are preparing in our ports, investing in materials, mainly ship-to-shore cranes, able to handle these vessels. It's clear that this is not going to change overnight, and that not all the vessels will be big post-Panamax, but for sure that the number of these sort of vessels will increase, and we are preparing in our ports to handle them not overnight, but as I said, slowly, step by step. We are preparing in any new investment. We are considering this in order to be prepared to handle it.
And looking ahead for the next 12 months, where do you expect to be in a year's time in the business?
Well, we are confident that the next 12 months will be better than the past 12 months. I think that in general the shipping industry and the international trade is recovering quite a fast pace. Probably it's not something that we recover what we lost in 1 year in another year, but we are quite confident that things are going back on track, and that with new projects that we are now developing, we are optimistic about the near future.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.